Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Monday morning, 1 week before the end of the transfer window, and on the day Arsenal take on Liverpool at Anfield in the Premier League. I'll get to that match later on in this video, but I thought I'd start off with just running through where Arsenal are in the transfer window of a week remaining. Before I get to that, thank you as always for all your support and everything on this page and on social media. If you're just stumbling across it now, like I said, I'm the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, Charles Watts, and this channel is alongside my other social media pages, trying to keep you as up to date and informed of all things Arsenal throughout the season and beyond. So please do hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll try and do my best to keep you updated. Right, let's get going, shall we, for today's video. Transfers, where else is there to start? Like I said, a week to go before the transfer window closes, and it promises to be one hell of a week at Arsenal. Very, very interesting. I think I'm going to be going to bed hearing the names Aouar and Partey in my sleep, to be honest, for the next 7 days. Because it's just going to be crazy, and social media is going to be crazy, and Twitter especially is going to be absolutely mad. So all fun and games to come. But where are we on Aouar? Well, where we are is just waiting for Arsenal's next offer. We know they've made one offer for the Lyon midfielder, and that offer was rejected out of hand by Lyon. Lyon's president, Jean-Michel Aulas, has obviously gone very public on it, spoken about it on Twitter. He tweeted, "There will be very few departures. Arsenal are way too far away from his value. We are counting on him to have a great match versus Lorient, which was last night, and to lead Lyon into the Champions League next year." So Aulas doing what he always does when it comes to transfers, and very much playing a strong hand and demanding more money. We know that's his way. We know what he likes to say on social media. He can be saying constantly a transfer is not going to happen, and then it happens. We saw it with Lacazette that summer. That was all played out again on social media and in various interviews with the French media, saying it wasn't going to happen. Arsenal are miles away in terms of the value. You need to give us more money, and then eventually Arsenal got the deal done. We saw it at Tottenham last season as well with Ndombele, and it's just what Aulas does. So he's come out. The fact he's come out like that, and said what he's had to say, I certainly wouldn't think that it means that Arsenal are not going to get Aouar. They clearly made a big move for him in the last week or so, and it's not going to stop just from one bid being rejected. Arsenal will go back with a second, with another bid, and try and get that one over the line. They've got 7 days to do it. Aouar obviously played last night in the game against Lorient. He was asked about his future. He didn't want to talk about it though. I think it was Canal Plus spoke to him after the game. He didn't want to talk about it. So he sort of fudged all the questions about his future. Just talked about Lyon's result. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has even spoken about it. He's waded into the debate. I think that was Canal Plus. He did an interview with as well, talking about his new contract, and they asked him about Aouar, and Aouar said he's a very good player. I hope we will be lucky to have these types of player at the club. I'm sure he can bring a lot to us. Aubameyang wading into the debate, and I'm not surprised. He hopes he can bring a lot to us, because I think we all know that Houssem would be a very, very good addition for Arsenal. Now, it seems like Lyon wants around 50 million euros for Aouar. Arsenal's bid was nowhere near that, even with add-ons. So they're going to have to raise it fairly significantly if they want to get this deal done. As I've said, Aulas is a very difficult negotiator. I remember I did an interview with Dick Law not too long ago, spoke about a lot of Arsenal's deals that he was involved with. Dick Law was obviously Arsenal's key transfer negotiator during the sort of final decade of Arsene Wenger's era, and he said one of the ones he was most proud of was Lacazette, just because it involved getting a deal done with Aulas, who he said is by far and away like the hardest negotiator he's ever had to deal with. So that's how tough it is. And it's why I've always kind of felt that Partey would be the more likely option for Arsenal if they were just going to get one of the two this year, just because I felt like I was going to be such a difficult one to get done because of the whole Aulas factor and other clubs that are potentially in for Aouar. But Arsenal's certainly taking a lead in this one, and it'll be really, really interesting to see if they can get it over the line. They're pushing hard for him, and it's going to be an interesting final 7 days. It certainly would make a big difference. I always sway one way or the other when I'm sort of who do I think would benefit Arsenal more if they only get one of their two key targets, which obviously are Thomas Partey and Aouar, who would make the bigger difference? And I always change my mind because Arsenal clearly need creativity in the final third. They need a player like Aouar. They desperately lack someone like that. Certainly in the central areas, who can operate as either a 10 or an 8. Because we all know that Mesut Ozil's not going to be that guy, and it would make a massive difference. But then I also think Partey coming in and sitting deeper in the midfield would transform Arsenal as well. So ideally, you want to get both of them. And whether Arsenal can manage to do that by next Monday remains to be seen. I mean, that is the dream, isn't it? Arsenal can get both of them. You think if you add Aouar and Partey to this team, this squad, I mean, it's that transforms everything really. It certainly turns Arsenal at least into genuine top 4 contenders, you would think, by adding those two players. You kind of wish that Stan Kroenke or KSC ever want to make themselves popular, ever want to show that they truly are in it to compete and not just to protect their investment and make money on their investment, then this is the summer to do it. Free up that extra cash, just give them the money so they can get Aouar over the line and they can pay Partey's €50 million release clause. And it's an absolute game changer at that point. And it would certainly make KSC an awful lot more popular than they are right now. Will they do it? Look, I think just past history suggests it's unlikely, but you would hope with what Arteta's doing and the sway he might have now that he can try and convince them that this is absolutely necessary to make the squad compete. And sometimes you got to invest to accumulate, haven't you? And you bring those two players in, Arsenal got a hell of a lot more chance of getting in the Champions League and then bringing in that extra funding next year. So you got to hope that KSC might see it as something that's worth doing, but I'm not going to hold too much onto it, the fact they might do that just because of past history. So in terms of Partey, nothing much has changed at all. As I said there, look, the Atletico's stance is still pay the release clause or you're not having him. It was interesting that Partey was on the bench last night for Atletico. Obviously, Luis Suarez's debut took all the headlines, but it was interesting, I thought, that Partey was only named on the bench. Such a key man under Simeone, and to not start that game just before the end of the window was quite interesting. People at Partey's camp are pretty calm about the situation. They think it's just because of Simeone sort of rotating his squad and keeping everyone fresh at the start of the season. But interesting one, I thought. So we'll have to keep an eye on Aouar and Partey, and obviously head over to goal.com. We'll keep you as updated as we can on Goal about all things transfer related before the end of the window, and check out my social media if you haven't already, and I'll try and keep on top of those sort of things. In terms of players out, this is going to be very key for Arsenal as well, and could be key to helping them get the deals done for Aouar and potentially Partey, is by raising funds in the next week or so. Players who have been desperately trying to get out throughout the summer, now it is really sort of decision time for them. Do they just maybe even accept lower offers that have potentially come in for these players? You look at Torreira, Mustafi, Socrates, Guendouzi. They're all still at the club. Arsenal would very much like to have got them out. They haven't been able to. Ozil as well, but we all know what's happening with Mesut. But certainly Socrates look like could well be heading to Napoli. Napoli now, it looks like, are keeping Koulibaly, with Man City bringing in Diaz from Benfica. That's going to affect Socrates' move to Napoli, making it very, very unlikely. Can they get him out somewhere else in the next 7 days? Can they move Mustafi on? Lazio, one of the Italian clubs, interested in Mustafi. Can Arsenal get a deal done with them to get him off the wage bill and bring in some transfer fees? Guendouzi, can they find a buyer for Guendouzi? Haven't been able to do it all summer. Can they do it right at the end of the window? If they can manage to get these players on, Torreira as well, we all know what's going on with him and Atletico Madrid. If Arsenal can somehow get these deals done right at the end of the window, it would be massively beneficial in terms of potentially bringing in their key targets, and it'd be huge in terms of the wage bill as well, heading into towards next summer. It's a big week for Arsenal, and it starts on the field tonight when they go to Liverpool in the Premier League. Anfield, obviously a horrible place for Arsenal in recent years. Haven't won there since 2012. Won there twice that year. Haven't won there since. Played 8 games since then. I think it's 6 defeats, 2 draws. They conceded 30 goals in that time. Conceded 5 goals on 3 occasions at Anfield since 2012. Conceded 5 there in the League Cup last year. Lost 3-1 in the league last year as well, or last season. So that's the size of the task facing Arsenal against the champions tonight. Obviously, they're going there on the back of 2 wins against them, though, in the league at the Emirates last season and in the Community Shield as well, albeit by a penalty shootout. But that will certainly give them confidence, and it'll be really interesting to see how Mikel Arteta approaches this game and how Arsenal approach this game. They've shown they can get results against the big teams recently, but to go away to one of them onto their own ground and put in a performance and potentially pick up a result, that will be one hell of a marker for Arsenal, especially against Liverpool side. I think it's 2017 since they've lost at Anfield in the league when Crystal Palace beat them there. Just an absolute dominant force, still the dominant force in English football. Few injury problems tonight, potentially no Alisson, potentially no Thiago, Jordan Henderson either. So, if those players miss out, it could be a good thing for Arsenal, but it will still be an incredibly tough test for Arteta's side. Team news-wise, not looking too bad. Obviously, you've got the key long-term injuries. None of those are back, but Tierney looks like he's fine. He's back in full training after getting injured in the warm-up against West Ham. So Tierney, you would expect, would certainly come back into the starting 11. Socrates, I wouldn't expect to be involved anyway, but he's not going to be fit till next week. Same as Smith Rowe and who's the other one? Cedric Suarez as well. So those players should be back next week in full training. But it looks like Kieran Tierney will be the only one who's back for tonight. So in terms of my predicted 11, I think we're going to see very similar to what we've seen from Arteta in their game, certainly in the FA Cup final, semi-final last season, and in the Community Shield. I think it'll be the typical 3-4-3. Probably a Tierney, Gabriel and Luiz defence. Now, the only issue with that is they're three players who like to play on the left-hand side of a defence, all playing in a back three. So you probably think it would be Luiz who plays it on the right. Now, you kind of want Luiz to be somewhere where he's very comfortable because he's prone to the odd mistake. So maybe that is a little bit of a concern moving him out of position. He always says he can play anywhere. I remember speaking to him about it after the game at Burnley last season when Pablo Mari was coming in, another player who likes to play on the left-hand side. He said, I can play anywhere, but you do want Luiz playing where he feels most comfortable. But I still think you're not going to move Gabriel out to the right-hand side, I don't think, given it's his first game against Liverpool. He's brand new to the club. Tierney's certainly not going to go over that side, you wouldn't expect. So Luiz would be the most natural fit, if indeed he plays, because there is the option of playing hold in there as well. But I would say it's going to be Tierney, Gabriel and Luiz. I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles will play instead of Saka. I think Maitland-Niles will be on the left of the sort of wing-back roles. Bellerin obviously on the right. We'll have a Xhaka and Ceballos midfield pair, and then I think Willian will play ahead of Pepe, so it'll be Willian on the right, Lacazette central striker, and of course Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on the left hand side. So that's my predicted 11 tonight. Gone through the team news, run you through where we stand in the transfer window a week before the window closes. Thank you everyone for watching, thank you for your support as always, and let's fingers crossed we get a good result tonight up at Anfield and we can start the week in the best possible way. I'll try. I'm not at Anfield tonight because obviously with COVID rules, only one person per organisation allowed in the limited spaces in the press box. So Neil Jones, our Liverpool reporter based up on Merseyside, he will be there. I'll be covering the game from home, but I'll still try and pop on and record a video afterwards going through my player ratings as well. And hopefully we'll be still part of the press conference on Zoom with Mikel Arteta. We'll be able to update with anything he has to say regarding transfers and the latest going on at Arsenal. So thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy your day and hopefully, fingers crossed, enjoy tonight. Speak to you soon.